we didn't talk after the Crawford Spence fight, correct?
No.
Okay. So, and I know
We're
you've
supposed
told
to
me
link up in New York, but we're supposed to link up. I mean, but we didn't, so it is what it is.
right. Now coming into the fight, remind me, you had chosen, who'd you choose to win?
I chose Errol Spence by one-sided beating.
Okay. So clearly that didn't happen.
No, it did happen. It
Oh,
just was Terence Crawford that had the
so
one-sided.
there was a one-sided beating.
What I picked, I said a one-sided beating was going to happen. You know,
Um,
I just, because to me, if you remember our conversation, I was just like, I don't think this fight is going to play out how everybody believes, right?
that's
I just didn't think so. I mean, specifically with the way that EJ was talking, like, I'm stepping, I'm going at him, I'm going after him.
right.
So with that thought process mindset, I didn't see no boxing anything.
Well, were you at the fight? Remind
I
me.
was.
You were. Okay. So what were your impressions after the fight was done? Like, what'd you come away thinking?
I mean, the crazy part about it, like I tell people all the time, bro, I'm the best fight the best. I don't give a damn about outcomes, bro. Like if you ask me who I think will win, I'll give you who I think will win. But I don't. It's not my thing, bro. Like I
Mhm.
don't really give a damn, bro. Like I care about the actual fight happening.
Right.
So, when Terence Crawford won in the fashion he won in, I was standing up clapping. And if you and the crazy part is, if you go and see, there are some they showed some pictures of Terence Crawford, like from when he was standing on the ropes, right? And he was standing on the ropes looking at the crowd, and he had
Mm.
his arms up. I'm under his arm.
Oh, you see, you're that close?
Yeah, I'm standing up clapping. You can, if you look in the picture and you look under his arm in the picture, you see somebody standing up clapping. That's me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So okay, so obviously we were all surprised by the outcome. I mean, what do you think led
I
to?
disagree. I
Oh,
wasn't
you weren't
surprised.
surprised.
No, I told you it's going to happen one way or the other, bro. It's going to be a one-sided beating. I was
Okay.
not.
So you knew one person would be
Yeah,
dominant.
it was just the wrong. I picked the wrong person to be dominant. But
What?
I stand on what I said.
Okay.
One-sided beating. I stand
What?
on it. I'm not changing my stance.
Okay, I got you. What do you think led to Crawford doing what he did? What did you see in there?
Exactly what Errol Spence said he's going to do. I'm going after him. Listen, bro. If I tell you this, champ, if I say, Marco, I'm coming to New York, Brody, and I'm going after you, and then I go to New York, I go to your restaurant. I mean, I go to your bar. I see you in the bar, and I go right after you. One of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to be successful or I'm not. Those are the only two things that's going to happen, bro. There is not going to be no me and you dancing around, trying to jab each other and trying to figure it out. No, it's one of two things going to happen. And that's one of the things that I praise EJ for, is that he's never lied, bro. He told you what he's going to do, and he goes out there and does it. Now, if he's been successful in the past, he just wasn't successful this time. But he went out there and he told you, I'm stepping. I'm going after the man. He went after the man, and he was not successful. And that's just the bottom line, bro. That's just that.
Okay. Well, do you think there's a different outcome at 54?
Yes. I absolutely think there's a different outcome at 54. Let me correct myself. I think it's not a different outcome. I think it's a different fight.
Okay.
Now, the fight itself is going to determine the outcome. There's people that are saying, oh, man, it ain't going to be no difference. That's fine, bro. That's fine. Say what you say. The problem that everybody has is it's 50-50 on the outcome. If you're not who you are on that night, then you can have a bad night. Anybody can have a bad night. Terence Crawford could go in there and have a bad night.
Right.
He could go in there and something could happen that he wasn't expecting, or he got overconfident, or whatever. There are a whole bunch of things that can happen. Errol Spence could go in there and be overconfident because, look, I know that wasn't me in that last fight. So now I'm overconfident that I'm going to be better, and that same outcome could happen, or vice versa.
Right.
But people have this thing in their mind because either they hate Terence Crawford or they hate Errol Spence. They run around here saying that I hate Terence Crawford. I do not hate Terence Crawford. at all. I hate Terence Crawford's moves. I don't like his moves outside of the ring. Inside the ring he's a phenomenal person, bro. I've said this multiple times, but people don't want to hear that. They know you gotta hate him, and that's just that. You gotta hate him because you like Errol Spence. Like, man, you're goofy as hell, bro. There are several people right now that I guarantee you don't like, but it has nothing to do. Like, I'm talking about fighters. You don't like their moves outside the ring. Inside the ring, you could think they're a savant, a genius.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But outside the ring, it's like, bro, your moves are whack, bro.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, because I'm who I am, I'm not human. I can't have that stance. I can't say I don't like your moves outside the ring. I can't say that. Because if I say I don't like your moves outside the ring, they automatically equate that to I just hate Terence Crawford.
Right.
But what they don't talk about is I didn't like Errol Spence's moves outside the ring. And I was talking about Terence Crawford as my guy. That was my guy. People just cut that part of history out because whatever, bro. Bottom line is this, man. If anybody has a bad night on that day, they have a bad night on that day, they're going to lose.
Right.
All right. People down and degrade Errol Spence because Terence Crawford beat him in a one-sided beating. The problem is if Errol Spence returns the favor, then what?
Right. Well, so I was the opposite of you. I thought that there's no way there's going to be a knockout. I thought it was going to be tactical, close. Obviously I was. Yeah, you remember. Right.
Yeah.
Obviously I was way off. I was very impressed by Terence Crawford's not only his counterpunching, but he set so many traps to make Errol engage, and and his strength. For me at the weigh-in when I saw them shirt off, next to each other, I was like, huh. Errol's supposed to be so much bigger, but he didn't seem that much bigger. If anything, to me, Bud looked a little like more like solid. So that was all impressive to me. The strength, the counter punching, the traps.
Let me ask you something, though, champ.
Mm.
How do you set a trap for an animal if the animal don't take the bait? How do you catch the animal?
Well, then you can if they don't take it.
Exactly, which is to my point. Exactly where I said Errol stepped to him.
Right.
Is your traps are nothing if I don't.
Right. So I mean, his trap was letting Errol engage, letting Errol take command, letting Errol come forward, and you're saying Errol would have done that either way, and maybe you're right. But
I'm saying that he didn't have to. I'm saying that we saw Errol Spence fight Mikey Garcia. We saw Errol Spence fight Ugas and Shaw and Danny Garcia. He didn't fight that way. We saw that man stay behind the jab and follow up his jab and double jabs and triple jabs. That's what we saw. We saw him keep his high guard up and jab, and we saw that. We saw the straights. We saw that. We did not see that with Terence Crawford. Why? Because he said, "I'm going after him."
Right. Well, then I guess Spence made it easier for Crawford to counter because you're right. He was coming right at him.
Yes. And you as a boxer would know what I'm saying is not cap because you can go back and watch the fight and say, "Damn, why didn't Errol stay behind the jab? Why didn't he just do that? Why didn't he stay behind his jab? He just went right at the man, like literally forced him against the ropes and started throwing shots to the body. All Terence Crawford did is block, take a step to the side, and counter.
Well, two of the knockdowns were from jabs, if you remember.
Well, one of them, it wasn't a jab. It was a setup. It was a straight.
Well,
the one where he knocked him down was a straight. It was 1-2.
Right. No, I'm saying he was reacting off of Errol's jab. So the first one, Errol did a low jab to the body, and that's when he did
a stab to the body. But if you stab to the body, you leave all this open.
Right.
That's just the common one.
When he hit him with the two hooks, Errol jabbed once, then Errol jabbed again, and he dipped the second jab and countered with the two hooks.
Well, if the thing about it, this is what I say. They weren't jabs; those were straights. He was throwing straights. He was throwing power for straights. He wasn't just pop. No, he was throwing straights. He was throwing some to try to get some work. But at that time, by that time, he was already in Bud's range. He was Bud had already had his distance for him right there.
I mean,
it wasn't a force. It wasn't a force to the whatever he had already had.
Right.
Once Bud had already had him, it was a matter of time at that particular moment.
If you heard at one point, I didn't hear much of Derek James in the corner, but at one point I remember hearing him say something like, keep chopping. So that was their mentality. Keep going forward, chopping. Eventually he'll chop them down.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with the chopping aspect. What I don't agree with what EJ did, I don't agree is he didn't, when you put it like this, when you chop a tree, Do you chop a tree from distance or do you chop a tree close?
Close.
Well, he was trying to chop the tree from distance.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with chopping a tree. Nothing wrong with that, right? But if you look at any fights that Errol Spence has had previously, Errol Spence he jabbed, double, triple jab to get in. Even when he threw those shots, those stabs from range, when it comes to other fighters, he threw those to get in. When he threw that with Terence Crawford, he threw that and stayed there.
Right.
And that's the reason why Terence Crawford just was like, okay, thanks. Boop, boop. Good looking.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but he never did that before, though. It was always I'm going to use this for that. It's not, I'm just going to use this and leave it alone. I use this, you left yourself there and boop, boop.
Okay. Well, do you think in the rematch, if there's a rematch, do you think Errol fights the same way, or do you think he makes an adjustment?
I mean, if he fights the same way, then he's going to get the same outcome. Like, you're not gonna fight the same exact way and expect a different outcome, bro. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting something different. No, I don't expect him to. I know Derek James is a better trainer than that. It's not going to say, yeah, well, we were good exactly what we was doing, so let's go ahead and repeat it. Like, that's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, no, Derek ain't stupid, bro. It's like, okay, I have some film now. We saw our flaws. We saw where we were wrong. Now let's change them up and do something different. Now, if Bud is successful with something different, congratulations, man. But I like I said, I don't know about the outcome, but I know the fight will be different.
What do you think Errol will do or should do?
Well, what I think he should do is fight the way he normally fights. Let me ask you, do you believe that he fought how he normally fights when he fought Terence Crawford?
Errol, yeah.
I absolutely do not.
No?
100% do not believe he fought. That is the fight that I saw him fight is not how he fought Ugas. It is not how he fought Danny Garcia. It's not how he fought Sean Porter.
How so? How different? How was it different?
When Errol Spence fought Danny Garcia, he bang, 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 and kept him at his range.
Yes, it was how he fought Ugas, though.
When how he fought Ugas, people rely on one round. They rely on one round when Ugas clipped him. That's the round they rely on. He fought Ugas the same way he fought Danny Garcia. He dominated the range. He got his range and kept his range. He put Ugas where he wanted Ugas to be. He did not do that for Terence Crawford.
Okay.
And he could have. He could have maneuvered Terence Crawford where he wanted to be, but his over-aggression is what allowed Terence Crawford to, hey, oh, you're going to be over-aggressive? Well, these traps are easy for me.
Right.
This is easy for me. I don't got to disguise nothing. You're aggressively coming at me.
You know, what I thought when I knew the fight was pretty much a foregone conclusion was after the second round, you know, at the very end of that round, Spence goes down from that counter. More of a flash knockdown than anything. And then in the beginning of the third, if you remember, the very first combination that Spence throws is he throws a jab and then a hard overhand right, and it lands clean, but it didn't do anything. And that's when I was like, oh shit, this is not good. Like, this looks, you know. So did you see that? Did you see that the Errol's power seemed not to do much?
I was ringside. I saw that. But for me, I didn't say that was the beginning and the end because I saw him do that same exact thing to Ugas, Danny Garcia. I saw him do that to other fighters.
Good point.
And that wasn't the beginning of it. And Errol Spence is not a one-punch knockout guy. Errol Spence breaks you down. He's a bludgeoner.
Right.
He breaks you down. But where Errol Spence is successful in his attacks and attempts is because he masters range.
Right.
This is why I keep saying Errol Spence played into this man's hands perfectly because he was overly aggressive from the jump, bro.
I don't think he knew that Bud was as strong and had as good of a chin as he had too.
Maybe that could be the case, that he didn't think he was as strong or he didn't think his chin was that good. But a lot of people have that type of misconception about a lot of fighters. But it's not about your chin being that good or that bad. It's about being hit in the right spot. You as a fighter should know this. I can hit you anywhere, and if you see the punch coming, you'll be better braced for it. If you don't see it coming and I catch you,
that's exactly right. Yep.
So I wouldn't say people like they have this fantasy thing when it comes to boxers and their chins. It's like, bro, like if I see a car crash coming, it's easier for me to get away from the car crash than if I'm just driving and someone hits me from the side or rear ends me. You know, it's a lot different story, bro. So I mean, I don't fall within that chinny thing. But what I will, when it comes to Bud and we're talking about chins, right? When it comes to that, um, I would say my thought process was that um, Bud was more susceptible to that than EJ.
Susceptible to what?
And I still believe that. I still believe that Terence Crawford is more susceptible to chin
Oh,
shots than
oh,
Errol.
okay. You're saying he can't take a punch as well.
I still believe Errol takes a better punch. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean, if you're not getting hit with the punch, it's kind of difficult to determine that motherfucker.
Right.
But I
Right.
seen him get hit by green beans. I seen that. And I seen that man get dropped with that. And I saw what his reactions was to that shot. I saw what his reactions to Gamboa shots. And then when you compare reactions between Gamboa, green bean, when you compare those to Larte, it's a different type of comparison.
Right. Do you want to see Errol fight him in a rematch immediately, or do you think he should take a fight in between?
Hell yes. Why would I not? Bro, this is one of those crazy statements that people say to me, and they've been saying a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
They say a lot of, oh, we don't want to see the rematch. I sit here and I think to myself, do you guys know what my name is? Best fight the best. Why the
Yeah.
fuck would I not want to see the best fight the best?
I
Like,
guess.
I need somebody to make that make sense.
I
But
guess.
I wouldn't care if they fought 10 times.
Right.
I wouldn't care.
Well, I talk to a lot of fighters, and a lot of them seem to have this notion that, because it got ugly in there for a little bit, and people were legitimately worried for Errol's health. Like that's where they're coming from by thinking like maybe Errol should just chill, to
That's
retirement talks
a
and all that.
dumbass statement.
Yeah. Well,
That is a dumbass statement. That's one of the dumbest. Listen, bro, I'm gonna keep it a rack with you, bro. I don't know what fighters told you that, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful to no fighters. That's a moist, feminine statement to me. Bro, it's a gladiatorial sport, bro. It's a gladiator sport, man. It's a gladiator sport. It was
yeah.
built off the bro. There was no, Spartacus maybe might want to take a few fights off, and just let him relax. No, nobody cared, bro. Get your ass in there and fight. Listen, yes, he lives. No, he doesn't.
Right.
That's what it was based off of, bro. These guys are making millions of dollars, bro.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand the concept of, he took a beating. Maybe he should just relax. Bro, how many don't we sit here? Me, the greatest fighter that ever walked God's green earth is Sugar Ray Robinson.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
That man he defended his title 24, 25 times in 2 years.
Right.
He was fighting multiple times, bro. He fought Jake LaMotta, lost, and then fought him again 3 weeks later. I'm
But
sitting here looking at these people like, what are you talking about, bro?
to play devil's advocate, Sugar Ray Robinson never took a loss that severely as Errol did.
Really? You sure about that?
I'm definitely not in his prime.
Do you forget where he fought at light heavyweight and almost died because it was 109 degrees in here?
He was winning that fight though. He just got.
Did you forget where he almost died? It don't matter if he was winning or losing.
I remember that, but he wasn't
died.
taking a beating. That was more of like dehydration. I think it was
Are
really
you forgetting
hot.
where I'm saying he almost died? Are you forgetting that part?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, he almost died, brother.
But it's different between somebody taking a beating and dying from outside elements and circumstances. You know what I mean?
So fighting and dying is better to fight than it is to die.
Well, when you fight again, you just make sure you don't fight in 110-degree weather, as opposed to somebody else. You might not be at that competitive level or whatever. That's what people are saying.
If you almost die, I don't care.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
I don't care about he almost died, brother.
Right.
That's the only reason why they stopped it, because he almost died.
I think he collapsed, didn't he?
He collapsed in the ring.
Yeah.
He couldn't come out. He almost died.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here. I hear what you're saying, but I feel maybe you're not hearing. He almost died.
I get it. But like I said, I think there's
Errol Spence did not almost die.
No.
The fight was stopped. He was on his feet.
Right. But I just look at those two things differently is all I'm saying. In terms of having that happen from another fighter and the way that Sugar Ray did it. But I get what you're saying.
he's had other fights, bro. That Jake LaMotta fight was a war. 3 of them
Sure,
were
but
wars.
still, they were all, he actually beat Jake LaMotta 5 out of 6 times.
5 out of 6 times, yes.
Right,
But
right,
3 of those fights were wars. They were not 3 of them were not one-sided.
right, right. And
3 of them were one-sided.
a war doesn't usually make people throw out those kind of statements like this person should retire. Usually not. Repeated one-sided fights do.
Well,
Now Errol's only lost once.
what repeated one-sided fight did Errol Spence
Oh, he
fight?
hasn't had any repeated. He's only lost
Exactly. So
once.
I don't understand why we're talking about retirement in any way, shape, or fashion.
I agree with you in terms of that. I don't think retirement, it's one fight. I agree with you there. I
I
don't
don't
think
think Errol Spence would be talking about rematches and he shouldn't take it. That's, to me, that is a moist beta statement for me.
yeah, I
This
mean,
man is a fighter. He has not one time has Errol Spence came out and made any excuses. Not
I've heard
once.
it's crazy.
Not
I mean, I can
once.
give you, Shane Mosley, a bunch of people have told me.
Everybody else,
Yeah,
not Errol Spence. Not once. Nothing.
yeah.
Everybody else has had something to say about it because we've all saw that fight and we know how Errol Spence fights.
Yeah,
He
Errol
didn't
hasn't
fight.
talked at all, has he? He just made
Yeah,
like one.
Errol has talked. He just hasn't. He said, "Bro, he beat me. He was a better man." That's all he
Right.
said. And then when they asked him about this same goofy statement about retirement, he was like, "Man, who raised y'all, bro? You guys been chased home from school. Somebody, I don't know who raised y'all, bro. We fought. The man won. We're gonna fight again. What's the problem? If he beats
Right.
me again, he beats me again. So, bro, I've had plenty of fights in my lifetime when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Where I had to. I lost the fight and ended up fighting again, lost the next one, ended up fighting again, potentially won 1 or 2 or 3. But I fought people every day of my whole life just about until I got older in like freaking high school. But before that, I fought all the time. I didn't win every motherfucking fight, bro. But for these people to say, oh, well, BF, you lost that fight that day, make sure you go a different route the next. Man, get out of my face. I'm not built that way. I'm going the same route that I went that day. You're going to have to beat me every single day.
I think Errol, surprising to me and a lot of people, I think he didn't look, what the word to how he looked? He looked very, very bad in there, like almost like he wasn't well. And I think that's why a lot of people are saying that.
Well,
you know what I mean? It wasn't like a close fight. It was like a completely one-sided.
That's why I asked you earlier. Did Errol Spence look the same to you that he looked when he fought any other fight?
Oh no, and that could be from just what Crawford did to him.
Whatever.
Or there's a lot of other rumors going around.
Whatever they are. I know what I know, but Errol Spence is not putting it out. So I've already said what I had to say about that subject. I'm gonna leave it be.
I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming a rib injury and painkillers is what somebody.
I don't know about no painkillers or nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
But I do know the man had a rib injury and he didn't spar for 6 weeks. That I know for a fact. I know that. And I was story. I don't care.
I was told that as well, and then I was told
I don't care though.
He took painkillers, which is why he looked a little off.
Don't care. Yeah. Don't care. I don't care. Errol Spence fought the fight. I don't give a damn if that man if he was drinking Similac. I don't care, bro. You got in the ring and you fought.
Right.
You got in there, you fought, and you lost, and you made no excuse. And that's that for me. I don't got no beef, bro. And even if he did make excuse, I wouldn't care.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Right. No, and that's true. No matter what happens, as long as he goes through with the fight and agrees to fight, it's on him.
Yes.